Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. The governor of the great state of Florida, the Sunshine State, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, strikes again. You know, every single time I see a clip of Ron DeSantis absolutely obliterating the fake news media, destroying their narrative in such incredible swift fashion, I always think back to this one moment where he said this.
I just disabused you of the narrative.
The infamous Ron DeSantis quote, "Let me disabuse you of that narrative." The man is a fake news fly swatter, with all these fake news flies flying around. Honestly, they're more like leeching mosquitoes, and Ron DeSantis is swatting them out of the air with absolute ease. You know, he just has that perfect wrist motion. Well, once again, narrative meets facts, or more importantly, the leftist narrative meets the massive brick wall that is Governor Ron DeSantis. And it doesn't go so well for these leftoids peddling their fake news. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here as the left tries to attack Governor Ron DeSantis as a tyrant, and he shuts it down like he always does. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so let's first start off with the narrative. What is the leftist media saying? Here's the context.
Layla, thank you. Thank you. Poppy, this is bizarre.
I know.
What are we doing here? I mean, I feel like we're going back. I feel like I'm watching a bad version of like Pleasantville where I don't get what's happening. It feels like the 1950s all over again with like book banning. This is cancel culture from people who are, I guess they just want our kids to be ignorant and to control the teachers. This is outrageous. I really don't even know how to explain what's going on here. It's just ridiculous.
Ron DeSantis is an evil dictator. It's the 1950s again with book banning. The right-wing puritanical mob censoring important information and keeping our kids ignorant. That's the narrative, and of course, you see the headlines all over the place. Governor Ron DeSantis is banning African American studies. He's banning the study of Black history. Of course, that's the narrative. That's the leftist mainstream media narrative. You know, kind of similar to the whole don't say gay bill thing. And then, of course, that narrative met Governor Ron DeSantis. Let's just say it didn't go so well for the leftoids.
And as you know, in the state of Florida, our education standards not only don't prevent, but they require teaching Black history, all the important things. That's part of our core curriculum. This was a separate course on top of that for advanced placement credit. And the issue is we have guidelines and standards in Florida. We want education, not indoctrination. If you fall on the side of indoctrination, we're going to decline. If it's education, then we will do. This course, so when I heard it didn't meet the standards, I figured, yeah, they may be doing serious. It's way more than that. This course on Black history, what's one of the lessons about? Queer theory. Now, who would say that an important part of Black history is queer theory? That is somebody pushing an agenda on our kids. And so when you look to see they have stuff about intersectionality, abolishing prisons, that's a political agenda. And so that's the wrong side of the line for Florida standards. We believe in teaching kids facts and how to think, but we don't believe they should have an agenda imposed on them. When you try to use Black history to shoehorn in queer theory, you are clearly trying to use that for political purposes.
Well, very quickly, he disabused them of their narrative. Governor Ron DeSantis isn't banning Black history. He's banning woke garbage indoctrination, using Black history as a cover, as a shield, as a vessel, so these woke lunatics can indoctrinate your children with their gender ideology. Governor Ron DeSantis isn't a fascist banning books. Governor Ron DeSantis is a hero saving the next generation of Florida children. And really, I don't get what the fuss is about. You know, leftoids are acting so shocked, as if this one came out of left field. Oh, where did this come from? Well, you absolute dummies, you shouldn't be so shocked, because this is exactly what Floridian voters asked for, democratically, through their election. Governor Ron DeSantis made the promise,
Florida is where woke goes to die.
the state of Florida is where woke goes to die. That was his victory speech after winning the previous election by nearly 20 percentage points. turning the state of Florida a beautiful ruby red. The leftist narrative right then and there basically crumbles, falls apart, because Governor Ron DeSantis isn't a dictator banning books. Governor Ron DeSantis is merely fulfilling the promises of his campaign. What he's doing was his democratically elected mandate from the voter base. None of what these leftoids are saying, surprise, surprise, makes any sense at all. Very surprising, I know. It tends to happen when your entire narrative is crafted on the typical Democrat mountain of lies. And of course, the most egregious lie, that he's banning African American studies or the study of Black history. As he disabused the fake news media of their narrative, he made it very clear that the reason he's blocking this woke curriculum has nothing to do with Black history, but all to do with queer gender theory, queer studies. He asks, I think, a very relevant, simple question. What does queer studies have to do with Black history? You know, it's the same tactic and actually the same question that we constantly ask ourselves when analyzing bills submitted by Democrats in Congress. What the hell does amnesty have to do with infrastructure? What does promoting gender studies in Pakistan have to do with American infrastructure? And it's the typical dishonest tactic that we see from Democrats all the time. They put some woke nonsense garbage where it doesn't belong. They package it in something else. They use that as a shield, as a vessel, as I mentioned earlier. And then when good faith Republicans stand in the way of that bill, Democrats respond in very bad faith, misrepresenting the totality of the context and claiming, oh, that evil fascist Republican is trying to stand in the way of Black history being taught in high school. How utterly absurd. Leftoids don't want you to know the facts. They don't want you to know that over 20% of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ, an absurdly high number that shows just how far the indoctrination and the trend is going. Leftoids don't want you to see the books that some of these teachers are pushing, books that are found in public high school libraries and elementary schools in some cases. Leftoids don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know how Governor Ron DeSantis is actually protecting the future, protecting children from this woke, corrosive venom. And so this is why they use these dishonest tactics. But I really don't know how they thought it would be different this time. I mean, to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Of course, you know the point I'm trying to make. They keep trying these same cheap tactics to take down Ron DeSantis, and it never works, because he's a master at imploding leftist narratives. I mean, here's a flashback to the whole Don't Say Gay Bill thing.
Asking on seven parental rights and education, what critics call the Don't Say Gay Bill, is on the Senate floor.
Does it say that in the bill?
Know that you support.
Does it say that in the bill?
I'm
asking you to tell me what's in the bill, because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Hold on, it says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who?
For
grades pre-K through 3. So 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and the idea that you wouldn't be honest about that and tell people what it actually says, it's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives.
And it pretty much ended there. You cannot bring this weak stuff around Governor Ron DeSantis, or in the state of Florida, it just won't fly, because he's directly swatting it out of the air. It's honestly my favorite quality of Ron DeSantis, and one of the reasons why I like him so much. There's pros and cons with DeSantis. This one is his biggest pro and one of his political superpowers, his ability to just shut down the left so effectively, so swiftly, and seemingly with very little effort. He disabuses them of their narrative, and it's an absolutely beautiful thing. Leftoids, keep that weak crap out of the state of Florida. Stop trying, honestly, just give up. You're never going to win. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.